Hi fashion lovers, you're welcome to another interesting video. In today's tutorial, we are going to be learning how to cut and sew this beautiful bubu that has a stylish pocket with an eyelet on the neckline. It is easy and simple. If you're a beginner, trust me, this video is beginners friendly. If you are new here, you are highly welcome. This is So Style with GB. Do well to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to be part of this family. Thank you, and let's dive into the video. To get started, I have 2 yards of African print fabric. I have 2 yards of Ankara fabric, as you can see. So I'll go ahead and fold it on the edge like this once. Did you see that? And I'll go ahead and fold for the second time, making it a 4-fold. And the reason why I'm folding it for the second time is because I'm going to be cutting the front and the back the same time. So I folded this into 4. If you're in a plus size, you can use 3 yards or 2.5 yards for this style. So I went ahead to mark 1 inch as the starting point line, and on this part now I'm going to mark my neckline of 4 inches. So the width of the neckline is going to be 4 inches, and the depth of the back neckline is going to be 1 inch. So I'm going to come down by 1 inch for the back. You can use 1.5 if you're on a plus size. And for the depth of the front neckline is going to be 7 inches. So I came down by 7 inches for the front neckline. So the back neckline is 1 inch the depth, while the front neckline is 7 inches. So I went ahead to mark my shoulder measurement, and the rest of this fabric is going to be the length of my sleeve. So that's around 9 inches, I guess. So I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches and take my shoulder slope. So at this point, the shoulder slope is meant to get to the neckline and not stop on the shoulder. So the next thing I did is that I came down by 9 inches after the shoulder slope for my sleeve opening, and I added 1 inch for the sewing allowance. So I came down by 10 inches, and on that point I made a straight line. That straight line is going to serve as the chest line, my chest line. So on that chest line, you can mark 1/4 of your chest measurement plus 5 inches, and then use a straight line and connect to the down part. You can, on the chest line, mark 1/4 of your chest measurement, add 4 or 5 inches and mark straight down. That is if you want the bubu to be straight, but for me, I'm going to make it a bit curved. So what I meant is I'm going to be shaping it a bit. So on my chest line, I mark 1/4 of my chest circumference plus 4 inches. The 3 inches is for ease, 1 inch is for the sewing allowance. So on my chest line, I marked 1/4 of my bust circumference plus 4 inches. So now I want to go ahead and mark shoulder to my waistline, shoulder to my hip line, and shoulder to the length of my dress. So I want this length, the length of the dress, to be 36 inches plus 2 inches for the hemming allowance. So this is my waistline, my shoulder to the waistline, and this is my shoulder to the hip line. And I also have shoulder to the length of the dress, which is 36 inches plus 2 inches, which is going to serve as the hemming allowance. And that is what I am marking at this point. On my waistline, I will mark 1/4 of my waist circumference, and I'm going to add 4 inches. The 4 inches, 3 inches is for ease, 1 inch is for sewing allowance. Then from the chest line, you connect to the waist line. Also on the hip line, you mark 1/4 of your hip circumference plus 4 inches. This thing that I'm doing, you can decide to just mark one measurement on the chest line and take it straight down if you want it to be straight. And for me, I want to shape in my boo-boo, and that is why I'm marking all this measurement. So after marking your hip plus 4 inches, whatever you have there as the total, you bring it to the hem, to the length of the dress and on the hem, and mark. So I connected from the waistline to the hip, and from the hip I will connect to the length of the dress. So what I'm going to do here is to curve out this part just the way you see me do, which is going to serve as the armhole. Come to your chest line and curve out that part. So I'm going to cut my dress now. I'm going to start by cutting the back neckline, and you're going to add ½ inch. So it was at this point I realized that my shoulder slope didn't get to the neckline, so I went ahead to remark the shoulder slope. So I'm also going to cut my shoulder, and I'm going to add ½ inch just the way you see me do. So for the neckline I added ½ inch, and for the shoulder I added ½ inch. So I'll go ahead and cut the body of this boo-boo. So I'm done cutting now. I'm going to remove the back. This one is going to be the back. I've removed it, and then I'm going to place my fabric back to cut out the front neckline. So this is the front. You can see me cutting the front neckline, and I'm adding ½ inch sewing allowance. So by the time I'm done, this is what I have. I went ahead to get a bridal satin fabric to cut out my neckline, to trace out my front neckline. You can see I folded the bridal satin fabric, and I placed my fabric on the satin to cut out the facing for my front neckline. So I use a pin to hold it, and I'm going to be tracing the neckline now on that bridal satin fabric, and I'm also going to trace this shoulder part. And by the time I remove it, this is what I am going to have. So I'll just go ahead and pin it. So the next thing is to determine the width of the facing. So I'm going to be coming down by 4 inches for the width of this, 4.5 inches, sorry, for the width of this facing. And I'm also going to be marking 4.5 inches on the shoulder line to get the width of the facing. 4 inches is okay. You can use 4 depending on what you want. So you can use your curve ruler and get this facing, especially if you want the facing to be a bit curvy, or you can go ahead and use the straight part of your ruler to connect. So I think I'll be using the straight part of my ruler now. The line now, that's what I'm going to be using. So you can use the curved part of your ruler, you can use the straight part of your ruler, depending on how you want the facing to be. So I went ahead to cut it out. So by the time I open it, this is what I have as my facing. If you have an interfacing, I will advise you iron it out on this facing if you have an interfacing. And if you are planning to sell this, or you want to make this for sale, I would advise you use a crepe fabric and not bridal satin fabric. It's going to actually make it more finer and more beautiful, but this is just for the tutorial sake. This is my back neckline. I have some piece of fabric. I placed it underneath the back part now, and I'm going to pin it down to cut my back facing. Go ahead and trace the neckline and also trace the shoulder part. Remove the fabric to get the width of your facing. For the width of my facing, I'm going to come down by 4 inches, and I'm going to also mark 4 inches at this point. and I'm also marking 4 inches, and I'll go ahead and trace it so that becomes my back facing. You want to go ahead and cut out the excess fabric. So when you open the back facing, this is what you're going to have. You can go ahead and fold this in the facing, or you can use your interlocking machine to interlock the hem part of the facing. So I went ahead to add an interfacing to my back facing now. You can see that I use a paper stay, and I'm going to mash it up. The right side of the facing fabric will face the right side of the back, and you want to go ahead and sew on the neckline. And for the back, for the front now, I notched the waistline, and I've gone ahead to open it up. This is what I have. This is the wrong side now. This is the wrong side, and I'm going to bring my facing. I've attached an interfacing to it. I use a paper stay. You want to go ahead and match your interfacing. The right side of your facing would face the wrong side of the fabric. The right side of the facing will face the wrong side of the fabric. You want to mark your ½ inch for the neckline and go ahead and sew it. So this is the back now. For the back now, the right side of the facing was facing the right side of the back, and you go ahead and sew. After that, you notch and take this facing to the wrong side. So this is what you are going to have. You can go ahead and press this down, or use your hemming gun to hold it, or you can fold it in, or use like an interlocking machine to interlock that edge. So this is the front. You also want to notch this part very well, notch the sides, so that you'll be able to flip this V neckline facing to the right side. After you are done notching, you want to take this now to the right side, or take the facing to the right side of your fabric, and this is what you are going to have. So the next thing you want to do is to fold the edge of the facing by ½ inch. Fold the edge of the facing by ½ inch, and then you want to go ahead and sew on it. So I've gone ahead to sew on the facing now. Sew it down to the fabric on the tip of the facing. So you want to go ahead and trim off any excess that you have around this point. So the next thing is to get the pockets now. I'm using 14 inches length. This is the length, 14 inches the length, and the width is 13 inches. But I advise that you make use of the width 11 inches if you're on a small size or medium size. So I marked 7 inches, as you can see, and from that point I will come down by 7 inches. On the upper part I marked 7 inches, and from that point I came down by 7 inches. I'm going to rule a line. So this is with my curve ruler. I want to get the curve on the pockets. So I went ahead now to get a curve on the pocket. So from the upper part I marked 7 inches and came down by 7 inches to get this, and then I went ahead to mark a curve. So from the down part of the pocket, it also has a curve, so I went inward from that point by 3 inches, and I'm trying to connect. I hope you understood. I went inward 3 inches inward to connect this curve that you are seeing now on the down part of this pocket. If you have an interfacing, I will advise you add your interfacing to the pocket, although I didn't add an interfacing, but if you do, you can add an interfacing to your pocket. So you want to go ahead and trim that off, and also trim this part off. If you're on a slim size or your medium size, I will advise that you keep the width of your pocket at 11 inches. Unless you're on a very plus size, you can use the width 13 inches. I went ahead to actually trim off the width of this fabric because it was just too big. It was just too big for me. So but I would advise you use 11 inches if you're on a small medium size, but if you're in a big size, no problem, you can keep the width at 13 inches. So this is what I have when I open it up. So I'll go ahead and fold this in. I'm supposed to fold it in once, but because the width of this pocket was big, so that is why you see me folding it into two, although I later cut it out. So at this point, I went ahead to trim this out because it was just too big. It was just too big for me. So I trim off 1 inch from that point. From that part, and I trim off 1 inch from that point. So the next thing you want to do is to notch all the round parts, the curvy parts. Notching it is going to help you to, fold it in. So after notching it, I went ahead to fold it in, and I'm going to be folding it in just once. Do you see that? This part, you're going to fold it into two. You're going to fold it into two because this part is going to be open. Other parts, you can fold it once, but that curve part, just fold it twice. So for this upper part, I went ahead to fold it twice, but you can fold it once. So this is what I have. I folded it once. You can see that, but on the upper part I folded twice. So this is me trying to see how the pocket is going to be. So after measuring and putting the pocket, I found out that the pocket is still big. It's still big for me. So I went ahead to fold again by 1 inch on this part. That is why I said you should keep your own pocket at 11 inches. So by the time I fold this part now, once I folded it once, it is now smaller. So by the time I check everything that I have it as 9.5. I have it as 9. That's almost 10 inches. I have it as 9.75. So instead of using 13 inches as the width, use 11 inches, especially if you're on a small size or medium size. So from this part, I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches. From your waistline, come down by 1.5 inches. Mark a straight line. This is for the pocket now. Mark a straight line. After you come down 1.5 inches from your waist, then you want to place your pocket and leave from the middle part of your dress, from the mid part of your dress, mark to 2 inches. So in between that point is going to have 2 inches. Place your pocket like that. Do you see what I'm doing? You also want to do the same on this part. So I will also fold this pocket now. I will also fold it on this part just the way I did for the other one. I want to go ahead and fold it. So after trying to get how my pocket is going to be, I've gone ahead to sew the cuff part now. I folded that cuff part into two and I sewed on it. So I'll go ahead and stitch the other pocket on the fabric. You want to go ahead and stitch it down on the fabric like this. But the other cuff part, I've gone ahead to fold it twice and I've sewed on it. So I'm also going to do the same for the other pocket. So when I was done, this is what I have. You can see the part that is open. That part that is open, I folded it twice. So the next thing is to get the rope. For the rope, I have about 27 inches by 1.5. So I'm going to fold the rope into two like this and fold it again to achieve that rope. And the length of the rope is 27 7 inches by 1.5. Then you want to go ahead and sew. So you're going to place it like this. You're going to place your rope like this. Use your pin and hold it down. I'm not sure the rope got to the back part, so that is why we're attaching the rope on the front parts. So after you attach that rope, you place your back and go ahead and sew on the shoulder. Go ahead, sew on the shoulder. So when you are done, this is what you are going to have. You can see my rope. You can see, so on this point, we are going to do our eyelet. So I would advise you do 4 eyelets on each of that point. Do 4 eyelets. So I went ahead to do my eyelet, but there was a problem. I'm supposed to do 4 eyelets and I went ahead to do 3. You can see if I pass the rope like this, there is no way the rope is going to come outside. So that is why I advise you do 4 eyelets. So I will later do another eyelet, making it for me to be able to pass my rope to the front. So what I did is I interchanged the rope, put the rope of the left to the other side and the right to the other side, and I brought it out, but it wasn't looking good, so I have to do the 4th eyelet on each side. So I would advise you do 4 eyelets on each side, so you'll be able to bring your rope to the front. So I'm going to do that after this video. So the next thing you want to do is to attach your black fabric on your sleeve. So I went ahead to cut out, if you open it up, I have it as 4 inches. The fabric I have as 4 inches, and the length is long enough to cover the sleeve. So you want to go ahead and place the right side of the black fabric on the wrong side of the sleeve and sew. So the right side of the fabric will face the wrong side of the sleeve. When you are done, you bring it to the right side and you want to go ahead and stitch like this. So I've gone ahead to do the same thing for this part. So when you are done with the sleeve, you want to go ahead and sew the body of your BUBU dress. Place the right side of the fabric of the back to face the right side of the front. And you want to go ahead, use your pin and hold it down, and go ahead and sew by the 1-inch sewing allowance you added, or the sewing allowance you've added. So after I was done, this is what I have. As you can see, you can go ahead and notch though I've notched it already. You can go ahead and notch all that side, that cuff side or the neckline side, notch it. And then you also want to go ahead and fold the down parts by the sewing allowance you've added, the hemming allowance. I added 2 inches, so I'm going to be folding by that 2 inches and go ahead and sew all around. So by the time I'm done, this is what I have. So the only thing I need to do is to add another eyelet and I'm done. So this is the end of this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you do, kindly give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to share it. If you have gotten value, like this video. Thank you, and I will see you in my next tutorial. Till then, bye bye.